Hi, this is Mike, and in the next 6 minutes, I'm going to basically spit in the face of every self-righteous relationship guru, sex advice columnist, and magazine article you've ever listened to, show you why shelling out hard-earned cash for flowers, jewelry, and expensive nights out on the town could actually be murdering your love life, and teach you, as weird as this sounds, how you can use tiny little text messages sent from your cell phone to get your wife incredibly turned on, feeling very naughty, and craving your attention on demand, whenever, wherever, and however you want. By the end of this short presentation, which won't be up for long, you'll feel like you have the magic keys to your wife's libido and will watch your love life take off like the space shuttle, no matter how many years or decades you've been married, no matter how many kids you have or how little privacy, no matter how busy your job is or how little time you have, no matter how tired she is, sleeping will be the last thing on her mind. No matter how down on her body she's been, she'll feel like the sexiest woman in the world. And no matter how hopeless you think things have got so far. In fact, if you follow what I say in this video and put it into action like hundreds of guys have before you, your wife will thank you, will brag to her friends about the amazing heat in your marriage, will be happier than you've seen her in years, and will start thinking of you as her own personal sex god, who she'd do almost anything to please, even if you've got a bit of a gut and don't go to the gym. Who the heck am I to make such a huge promise, and why should you listen to me? My name is Michael Fiore, and as embarrassing as it is for me to admit, I've never been married or even been close to getting married. I've never lived with a girlfriend except 3 awful months back in college, and I've never been in a relationship that lasted longer than 3.5 years, and for most of that relationship, I was incredibly frustrated and miserable, had no idea how to turn my girlfriend on. I'm just a regular guy who stumbled onto a weird but freakishly effective way to turn any woman on, which has nothing to do with what most of the experts tell you about romance. Honestly, as a married guy, there's no reason at all for you to soak up what I have to say today, except what I'm going to teach you right now has already transformed the lives of hundreds of married guys just like you. And every day I get dozens of emails just like this. Scared the bejesus out of me at first, Michael, but I followed what you said and I was amazed at the results. I never thought my wife would be the one to initiate sex. Now she can't get enough. Mark L., Massachusetts, married 15 years with 3 kids. I sent 3 texts and my wife was so hot for me when I got home. We had the best sex in years. Thank you, Michael. You've got to share this stuff with the world. Tim Thomas, Las Vegas, Nevada, married 2 years with 1 baby on the way. This couldn't have come at a better time. My wife and I were right in the middle of a dry patch when I discovered your stuff. Her reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Now her friends keep asking me to teach their husbands how to do this. Jim from Seattle, Washington, married 18 years with 2 kids. Okay, so when I first started sharing this texting formula with my frustrated guy friends, a lot of them said to me, using text messages to get my wife into bed, no freaking way that would work for me. And if you're like a lot of married guys, you might have fallen for the dangerous myth that says your wife just isn't that into sex anymore, that having a crappy sex life is just part of being married, that you've tried everything without any success. Or you might think if you ever had the balls to send your wife a dirty text message like some horny teenager, you'd end up sleeping on the couch and choking down leftovers for a week. That's a really common response from men. In fact, a lot of guys who I first talked to about this say that. Now, let me tell you why it's 100% not true and why your wife is desperately waiting for you to use this stuff to take control. To do that, first we need to debunk a common and dangerous myth about your wife's sex drive and show you why it's probably a lot higher than you think it is, and is actually a lot higher than she thinks it is too. Fact. As guys, we hit our sexual peak where we're our most virile and most easily turned on around age 17, which is why teenage boys walk around with permanent hard-ons and get excited at the touch of a passing breeze. But women don't hit their sexual peak until they're in their 30s. It sounds incredible, but your average 35-year-old woman really is as ridiculously horny and sex-obsessed as a 15-year-old boy who just discovered dad's hidden stack of Playboys. Unlike teenage boys, though, women are a lot better at hiding just how amped up they actually are. What this means is that your wife, if she's in her late 20s, 30s, 40s, or even 50s, is secretly a sexual live wire just waiting to be set loose. If you know how to flip the switch and give her permission to act. Okay, so if your wife is actually secretly horny and subconsciously wants sex even more than you do, why isn't she jumping your bones every time you stumble home after a hard day at work? That's a really good question. And here's the really good answer. In order for your wife to actually act on her secret sex drive that I swear is driving her crazy, she needs 3 things. First, your wife needs you to wake up her desire by drawing her attention to it in a way she's hardwired to respond to. This goes down to the use it or lose it idea. A lot of women, because they're not given the right kind of stuff every day, kind of sublimate their sex drive. So we're going to teach you how to wake it up. Second, you need to give her permission to act on her sexual impulses without fear of being judged or feeling like a slut. As her husband, you've actually got a huge advantage here over us single guys. And third, you need to make her feel truly, undeniably sexy so she can get over any body issues and come after you for what she wants. Really, Maxim ruins everything and makes a lot of women who are really beautiful and sexy feel like they don't measure up. So how do you do all of that? Well, you do it by understanding a fundamental truth about women that changed my life and the lives of every guy I've shared this with so far. As guys, we're genetically programmed to respond to what we see. That's why all guys really like porn while a lot of women hate it. Show your average straight guy a picture of a hot woman in a bikini, a cheerleader doing the splits, or pretty much anything that vaguely resembles a breast, and we'll go from 0 to hump-o-matic in just a couple of seconds. See what I mean? Guys are so easy. But women are, different, and you can't treat them like guys and expect the same response. Yeah, I know that's not really news to you, but a lot of guys get this really wrong. Unlike us guys, women are not that turned on by what they see. Instead, your wife's brain is pre-programmed and evolved to shift into hot and heavy overdrive by what she feels and what she imagines. Those are both really important words. Your wife's biggest erogenous zone is her mind. And the easiest way to stroke that erogenous zone and get her secret, ravenous sex drive to come out to play, it isn't through pictures, lavish dinners, or expensive gifts. Those might make her feel grateful, but they won't turn her on. Nope, the way to get your wife to actually want you and throw you down on the bed for a heavy session of honeymoon sex is with mind-tickling stories, sexy situations, and sexy language. Need some proof? Let's just compare guy porn, otherwise known as porn, with women porn, otherwise known as corset-ripping movies, dirty stories, and Cosmo, and romance novels with ridiculously buff Fabio clones on the cover. Have you ever actually read a romance novel? I have, and I can tell you those things are ridiculously dirty. In fact, even a tame romance novel is in many ways worse than the dirtiest, kinkiest porn you've ever watched. Let me show you what I mean. Here's a picture of what turns guys on. Beautiful girl, great smile, nice skin, breasts, hips, everything that really appeals to us on a primal genetic level. Now here's what turns women on. Responsive to every nuance of his seduction, she clutched handfuls of his hair and burst into tears as the climax she tried so hard to delay swept over her in racking spasms no man could withstand. Seriously, this is from a popular romance novel that goes right to the core of what turns women on. Here's something else that turns guys on. Beautiful girl in a bikini, great abs, all those kind of things. Women. She cried out, for he was there between her legs, and it was his tongue now touching her, tasting her, laving up her essence, totally seriously. Here's something else turns guys on. A guy in bed with 2 beautiful girls about to do, well, we can only hope we know what. What turns women on? Her pelvis was pressed hard against his, gyrating, pulling him even more deeply into the velvet, warm walls of her femininity. Completely serious. This is from an actual romance novel that's out there in the world that women are eating up. Women all across the country are eating this kind of stuff up. Even women who you would think would never read this kind of thing, when they read this kind of language, something strange happens to their brains. Do you get it, or do I have to go on? Because I really don't want to have to read more of those. Pictures are all it takes for a guy, but language and imagery are honestly the magic keys to a woman's mind, a woman's sexual mind. I'm using romance novels as an example, but this honestly applies to all women. Pick up any chick book or women's magazine at random, and you'll find the same thing: hair pulling and stolen kisses and stories about innocent women who are suddenly unable to control themselves and are overcome with lust, so that they're not really responsible for their actions anymore. That's a core concept we'll touch on more later. And they're all stuffed full of language specifically designed to hit the pleasure center of her mind like the purest, most addictive crack on the planet. So how do you deliver these magic keys to your wife wherever she is and whenever you want? How do you, as a married guy who's probably really busy and has a job and kids and all those things to worry about, how do you light a massive spark under your sex life literally by pushing a button? Well, the answer is text messaging in a very specific way. Plain and simple, and as weird as it sounds, sending smart text messages to your wife during the day, wherever she is, can have a shocking and drastic change both on your sex life and in the way your wife looks at you, thinks about you, and treats you. Why? Because by texting your wife, you're taking control, you're feeding your wife the kind of secret fantasies she's genetically programmed to respond to wherever she is, whenever you want, and building up her desire to a fever pitch so she can't help but act on it. With text, you can have a secret conversation with your wife where you wake up her secret ravenous sex drive pretty much on demand. Do it right and she'll feel like the sexiest, most desired woman on the planet. Will brag to her friends about the spark you've put in your marriage, and will finally feel like she has permission to give in to her secret desires with a level of passion and overwhelming lust you haven't seen since the night of your honeymoon, if then. And you'll do it without having to be romantic, without shelling out a bunch of money on expensive presents, without actually writing anything yourself at all. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, Michael, I get how this works, but what's the right way to do this? I mean, you can't just send any random text message, right? And what do you actually say? Well, I'm really glad you asked, because with your permission, I'm going to share with you a few important things. First, I'm going to share with you the secret 4-step wife texting formula proven out by hundreds of guys so far that takes your wife from cold fish to panting and ready in just a few short hours. I also want to share with you the irresistible 2-word message you can send right now, which your wife will drop everything to respond to, even if she's at work and not in the mood. Very powerful stuff. I also want to share with you the self-esteem escalator text that short circuits her body issues and has her counting the minutes until she gets to see you. If you're sick of hearing your wife say she's fat, try this and you'll be astounded by the results. I also want to share with you my weird method for cloning her greatest sexual experience and getting her to re-experience her greatest ever pleasure while she's standing in line at the grocery store. This is incredibly powerful stuff where you take the best sexual experience she ever had, hopefully with you, and you make her feel like it's happening to her again wherever she is. I also want to teach you how to make texting into a dirty channel she tunes into whenever you send her a message, where your wife can finally give in to her pent-up desire and be as flirty and hungry for you as she's always wanted. I also want to teach you why your wife wants you to objectify her and how to use non-creepy lust to push her from mommy mode to sex goddess in just a few easy steps and just a few easy texts as well. Also, you're going to learn how to telepathically read your wife's mind and feed back to her deepest sexual fantasies, even if she doesn't know what they are herself, and I'm going to tell you right now, she probably doesn't. You're going to learn why your wife is yearning for attention and how to use simple fantasy stories to have her happier and more affectionate than she's ever been in years. But most of all, I want to share with you this simple method for building massive desire in your wife, step by step throughout the day, so that she can't help but give herself to you the moment you walk in the door. I've seen it again and again. I want to see it again with you. How? By introducing you to a simple, easy-to-use system called Text Your Wife into Bed. Here's the weird history of the Text Your Wife into Bed system. I created this formula actually for myself as a single guy. Last year, when I first started getting into this texting thing, I found myself dating some women, and I didn't have enough time to really, basically seduce them in person. And I discovered over time that if I sent certain text messages in a certain order, amazing things happened. They started responding to me in this amazing way. And I shared this formula with my married friends and told them about how I was using text messages to build this incredible heat and was honestly having a great time and having a lot of sex with really amazing, hot, beautiful women. And I also started sharing it with their wives. And a weird thing happened. When I shared this formula with my married guy friends, I particularly remember one time I was sitting at a restaurant with 3 friends of mine, and I was talking about this stuff and talking about the way women work and the way they think. And I gave each of them just 3 simple texts to send to their wives right there. In fact, most of them sent the first one while we were sitting there at the table. And the next day I got emails and text messages back from all these guys saying that when they went home, amazing things happened. One friend of mine said that his wife came in and basically threw him down and gave him a blowjob. And another said that they had great sex that night. And the third one said they didn't have sex that night, but they felt so much closer. And she had this little switch in her hips and great things happened. Even better, every woman who I shared this system with and talked to about this system gave me the same response. They said, Michael, I want my husband to do this. Can you teach him how? Every single one. And actually I shared it with quite a few married women. So eventually, after having all these guys say this, having people say, man, you really got to share this with the world, I decided to systemize this process for everybody to use. I figured I had, lightning in a bottle, a genie in a bottle, and had to share it with people. And that's how Text Your Wife into Bed was born. Like I said before, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a PhD. Heck, I'm not even married. But what I am is a guy. And I created this system for other guys to be able to use and get astonishing results fast. There's not a lot of theory and such like that. It's just really a practical way to make this stuff happen. So really, it's designed to hook directly into your wife's sexual mind, distract her from the stresses and boredom of her day, and turn her on almost on command whenever you want and literally at the press of a button. Here's how it works. The Text Your Wife into Bed system has 3 main parts to it. First, you have the Text Your Wife into Bed videos. These simple, no BS videos walk you through the step-by-step Text Your Wife into Bed formula I talked about before, and that I developed after working honestly with hundreds of frustrated married guys and interviewing dozens of women and getting frankly astonishing results. In the videos, you're going to discover how to use irresistible curiosity to get your wife's attention and slowly shift her from mommy mode or wife mode into her own private fantasy world. How to quickly build heat by reminding her of her best sexual experiences, focusing her attention on her secret desire, and have her shifting in her seat and craving more. Next, you'll get a crash course in storytelling, and you will learn how to tell your wife a private story over text that has her entire body feeling like it's on fire, even when she's sitting at work. And most importantly, you'll learn how to turn her built-up fantasy desire into hot, heavy reality, where she can't help but pounce on you as soon as you get home. And that's just really a tiny taste of what you'll get in the videos. But my promise to you is that when you watch the videos and do what they say, you'll see an immediate and massive spark in your marriage, just like thousands of guys have before you. Next, you're going to get the 4-day icebreaker. I'm actually really proud of the icebreaker. And it's a done-for-you texting script where I tell you exactly what to say to warm up your wife the first few days using the system. The icebreaker slowly raises the heat over the first few days to make sure your wife is ready for the more advanced stuff and includes text for every possible response she may have along the way. I developed the icebreaker because when I was first putting this system out, a lot of guys who were a little more nervous and a little more shy didn't feel like they could jump right in to the deeper stuff, the hotter stuff that's in the main program. And the icebreaker is basically, you can kind of call it an on-ramp or something like that. It's a way to go from really relatively PG text to stuff that's pretty dirty over 4 short days. And by the end of those 4 short days, your wife, if she's anything like most of the women who've gone through this, will be ready for a lot more, and you're going to be having a lot of fun. Of course, even after the icebreaker, I wouldn't be doing my job if I expect you to actually write text yourself. I mean, writing is hard, right? And that's why I'm also going to give you the Text Your Wife into Bed downloadable black book. This is kind of your manual or your Bible, I suppose, as I'll say in a second. And it includes cheat sheets, checklists, over 100 done-for-you texts, and I'm adding more all the time, and full examples of exactly how this works. Really, the black book is basically your texting Bible. It answers your questions and gives you texts you can use in every situation so you're never without the right thing to say. In fact, in the black book, you'll get complete scripts. You'll get checklists that you can kind of go through to make sure you're doing the entire process properly. You'll get cheat sheets that show you the formula in a really basic way and show you what time of day to send each text to get the best possible result from her, what to do depending on her responses, how to awaken her sexuality in certain ways, etc., etc. The black book is really just full of all the chunky stuff you'll need to make this happen. Of course, getting your wife into bed is just the beginning. You also need to know how to blow her mind when she's there, which is why I'm also going to include my notorious The Waterfall Effect video at absolutely no charge. Now, the waterfall effect is a simple story you can tell over text, on the phone, or even while you're in bed to get your wife incredibly turned on and possibly even give her an on-command orgasm without even touching her. It's shocking, but when you use this technique, you'll actually be able to tell your wife when to have an orgasm and have her react passionately on command, all by using simple metaphors that make her feel safe and give her permission to really enjoy yourself. I mean, just imagine how your wife is going to look at you, probably with astonishment in her eyes, the first time you use this with her. I've used it myself many a time as I developed it. I've given it to a lot of married guys, and they all write back to me and say, Michael, I didn't think this was going to work, but as soon as I tried it, I can't believe the change in how she acted with me. So I'm excited for you to try it out. Okay, so you might be thinking, Michael, how do I get started? How much for the videos, the Text Your Wife into Bed black book, the 4-day icebreaker, plus my notorious The Waterfall Effect video that will actually allow you to give your wife an orgasm at will? Honestly, this is the only program like this in existence, so there's nothing to compare it to. So let's just think about the alternatives you could try or that you've already tried. You could try buying flowers for your wife, but even modest flowers will cost you at least $50, and it might cost you a lot more. And flowers will live like, what, maybe a couple of days at most. And while she definitely liked the sentiment, we both know flowers aren't going to turn her on the way you want. Jewelry is actually even worse, in my opinion. I'm not saying you should never buy your wife jewelry, but we all know that even the most expensive jewelry isn't going to buy you passion that you really want. And if you were really serious and had the guts to bring it up, you could try a sex therapist or a couples counselor, right? But that would cost you $150 per session, and you'd probably need at least 10 sessions just to get anywhere. And honestly, I don't know, most guys I know who go through couples counseling, they don't really feel like it brought them any closer or got them any closer to having what they really wanted, which was great connected sex with their wives. So let me ask you this. Years from now, when you're looking back, how are you going to feel about your relationship with your wife? How are you going to feel if you could have had a more passionate, more fun relationship with your wife just by pushing a few buttons? So how much would you pay to be able to really own your sex drive without ever having to apologize for it? To have fun with your wife, be all over each other like teenagers, never have to feel that shame and be the envy of all your friends. The regular price of the Text Your Wife into Bed program is $97, which I think is actually quite a steal for the quality of information and the changes you'll see. That's less than one evening out at a fancy restaurant, less than one drunken night at the strip club with your buddies to work out your frustrations, less than the cost of one visit to a marriage counselor, and a lot less than one messy divorce, though I really hope you're not headed there. But if you act now while this video is up, you can have the full program for just $67, a full 30% off the regular price. And all you have to do to get started is enter your email address and click the big, shiny Add to Cart button that just appeared below. You'll gain instant access to everything and will be texting your wife tonight. And of course, you get my rock-solid, no questions asked guarantee. Really simple how this one works. I don't like complicated guarantees. Order today. Use the material. If you aren't blown away and if you don't get results, just email me within 60 days for a complete no questions asked refund. No fine print, no BS. You're going to get my personal email address as part of this program because I really want your feedback. One of the things that I really like to do is update this program and add more stuff to it. And I do that by having guides like you who put this stuff into effect in the field write me and tell me what you're looking for. But the reason I have this guarantee in the first place is because if I don't get you results, I don't really think I deserve your money, plain and simple. Yes, I put a lot of work into this program to make it something I can be proud of, and I'm really happy and overjoyed with all the success stories I get from guys and all the amazing results they tell me about every single time I get an email about how this information, this program actually changed their lives. But if this doesn't work for you, I don't think I deserve your money. That's why I have this guarantee. So really, by doing this, I'm taking all of the risk. You could very easily take this program, use it, maybe even get amazing results like so many other guys have, and still get your money back. And that's actually fine. It's totally fine because I know that most people are 100% honest, and because I want you to get the same great results so many other guys have gotten already. And all you have to do again is enter your email address and click the big Add to Cart button, and you'll get started in just a few minutes. But you really do have to act now. I'm selling this program now for just $97 or $67, I'm very sorry, as a market test. But I'm planning on raising the price or maybe even doubling it in the near future. I'll probably raise it back up to $97 pretty soon. And I'm actually thinking about even raising the price higher than that because as more people start using this program and start reporting back to me the great successes they have, a lot of them say, Michael, this stuff is great, but I almost didn't buy it because it was so cheap. Because there's so much great stuff in here. It's really more than just about how to send simple text messages. This whole thing is kind of a system for completely rejuvenating our relationship and our marriage. And so I might be raising it, honestly, because I want more people to kind of grab onto it and do great things. So if you want to grab it for $67 now, I think you really should. It's completely possible that if you come back in a few days or a few weeks and think about it then, it's going to cost at least $97 and maybe a lot more than that. Listen, you've got a really simple choice to make. Option one is do nothing. Keep going the way you are now. Keep being frustrated and risk things getting worse because you don't take action. If you just want to keep kind of pretending things are fine with your sex life and your marriage, and I'm not saying your marriage is necessarily really bad. Maybe it is. I don't personally know. But if you're going through this entire video, it means you want more. It means you want more of a spark, more fun. It means you see the value of having this great sex here. And if you don't do anything, nothing's going to change. Option two is to take what you learned here today and try to wing it with your wife and risk making up your own text and hoping for good results. You can try this, but I can tell you from experience that the chances of you sending the wrong message and ending up in the doghouse this way are huge. When I first started using this, I had some big disasters in my own life and got some women that still won't talk to me. And it took me a while to figure out the proper way to do this, the proper sequence to go through, the 4-step process, which I'm going to share with you. Or you could risk nothing at all today and grab the Text Your Wife into Bed training for just $67. You can go through the icebreaker, heat up your marriage, get in line to be yet another of my growing success stories, and see amazing things. And to do that, all you have to do is enter your email address and click the big, shiny, inviting Add to Cart button that just appeared below. As soon as you enter your email address and click the button, you'll be brought to the checkout. You'll be able to enter your credit card information. And then within just a few minutes, you'll be on the site where you can download the videos, where you can download the PDF Black Book, the icebreaker, and the waterfall video, where you can start using this stuff. And honestly, if you're like a lot of guys, you'll probably start using this stuff within a few hours. You'll be able to start using the icebreaker and start getting results. And you'll start seeing, like a lot of guys do, how happy your wife is to get this kind of attention. It's really amazing. A lot of guys are kind of scared at first. They feel like, oh, if I use this with my wife, she's going to be really mad at me, or she can't do that. And how they really react is they say thank you and they say, oh my God, how did you know this is what I wanted? Okay, so a lot of guys write me and say, Michael, this sounds amazing, but I'm afraid of how my wife will react. And so let me just show you some of the testimonials I got from women who have seen this material. If you're already convinced, if you already know this is for you, you can skip this part. You can just click the Add to Cart button right now, enter your email address, click the Add to Cart button, and get started. But if you're thinking like maybe, oh, I don't know if I can do this. What do women really think of this? Are they going to get mad? Let me share some of these with you. Guys, if you want every nerve in your wife's body to be tingling in anticipation of ripping your clothes off as soon as she sees you, then get this. Seriously, when Michael asked for my feedback, I was fully prepared to tell him how this knuckle-dragging macho crap would never work. But when I went through the material, I was amazed. Michael's absolutely right about what turns a woman on, what makes her feel sexy, and what makes her want you. Most importantly, he shows you exactly how to get her to break free of work mode, break free of mommy mode, and jump into I've got to have you now mode right now. That's from Beth Powell from Austin, Texas. And really, she was. When I emailed Beth, somebody I know personally, and when I emailed her, she was like, no freaking way. This is what she came back with. As a busy mompreneur, it's hard to stay connected with my husband, and connection is prerequisite to intimacy for women. I've been hungry for more intimate moments with my man, so I figured we could learn something from this course. Did it work? Let's just say we've had more fun in the last 2 weeks than the last 6 months. And my husband is super shy, so if it works for us, it'll work for anyone. That's from Lisa Robbins Young from Seattle, Washington. And if you're shy, don't worry about it. That's why I developed the program the way it is, to help you get over that shyness, to give you the confidence and the done-for-you aspects to it, to be able to do this. If you don't know what to say, don't worry about it. I give you exactly what to say in this program, the exact words to use that have been proven again and again and again, and your wife will respond to it and will be really thankful. Here's another one. I have never been exposed to anything like this. I was a bit stunned just learning about the material to actually feel in my body how well it could work for me and my husband. Just telling him about it connected us more sexually. As a 50-year-old woman, I'm not even a fan of texting, but I love the dirty channel use of this technology. That's Elizabeth from Denver, Colorado. A 50-year-old woman. Some guys come to me and they say, oh, Michael, this stuff can only work for, women in their who are in their 20s or in their 30s. And here's the proof against that. And it's not the only one I've got. I have a bunch more. I just don't have room to share with you. Women are craving this kind of stuff. This is a game for them. It's food for them. I like to say that the stuff that I'm teaching you to do is like sunshine to a flower for a woman. They need this kind of attention. They need this kind of sexuality. And if you're not giving it to them, they're going to find some other way to get it. They're going to find, either reading all these romance novels or something else, or they're just going to, feel like they're not allowed to be sexy. Women are incredibly sexy creatures, incredibly sexual creatures too. And all you really have to do is to learn how to feed them this stuff to get great results. So again, all you have to do to get started is enter your email address and click the big, shiny, inviting add to cart button that just appeared below. And you'll have instant access to the material. You'll be able to kick the tires on it. You'll be able to decide for yourself if this is really for you, if it's going to work for you. I do recommend, though, that if you get it, please get it with the intention of using the material. Take this stuff, dig through it, go through the videos, go through the manual, the black book, go through everything else I give you, and then use it. I'm really passionate about making sure people who get this stuff take action with it and get great results with it. This is something I really, I kind of stumbled into this whole concept of doing this, but ever since then, I've become a little addicted to all the great results I've been getting for people. It makes me really happy to get testimonials like I've gotten from guys, like I've gotten from women in this exact way. And I want you to be another testimonial like that. So all you have to do is click the add to cart button below, enter your email address, click that button, and get started today. And I really look forward to hearing from you and hearing about your great results. Thank you so much. I've been Michael Fiore, and get texting your wife into bed.